Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Kramer. Today we have with us a LinkedIn expert. Our guest is Shawn Hill. Welcome to the show, Shawn.
Thank you, Alicia. It's an honor to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm really looking forward to you sharing some very, very helpful information with us. A lot of our listeners they're high growth business owners. They're doing their thing, and in many cases, they're doing it pretty well. But we're all growing. We all have stuff to learn. We definitely all have areas that are not our sweet spot. They're not our expertise. They're not our genius zone. And certainly we all have mindset stuff that we are consistently working through.
Absolutely.
So this is designed to be one of those shows where we are teaching, we're educating, we're informing, we're sharing some wisdom, we're bringing exposure to experts in their field, and we're really getting into the mindset of the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. What does it take? What makes you tick? What gets you up in the morning and what keeps you moving forward and what gives you the inspiration to push through resistance, which comes up no matter what level you're at. Absolutely. Whether you are new in business or you've been in business like myself, I've been in business now for well over a decade. I'm actually, pushing almost 2 now with this. And a lot of my clients have been in business for 30 plus years, and we've all got stuff. We're always growing. So why don't we start by talking about your business? So tell us about your business. Tell us what you do.
Okay, everybody, it's great to be here. My name is Shawn Hill. I'm the LinkedIn coach, and I help entrepreneurs navigate the sometimes confusing waters of LinkedIn. You know how so many entrepreneurs can come over to LinkedIn and just, have heard that it was a great place to be, get over there, really don't have results and get frustrated. Well, I'm that person that helps you and guides you with my coaching and my programs to really get revenue and success and meet your goals on LinkedIn, because I honestly believe nobody shows up there just to show up. You have a goal, you have an ideal about something you want to accomplish, you just don't know how to get it done. And so I'm that guy that can help you accomplish whatever it is you're trying to get done.
So you made a couple of very, very, very important points. And I want to touch on a few of those real quick.
Absolutely.
So many of us, and we talked about this a little bit before, but so many of us, we have our profiles on all of these different platforms, and we're really not utilizing them to their full potential. Mm-hmm. So you'll hear people say, well, you have to have a presence, but that doesn't do much of anything. Just having a presence somewhere is really not productive.
Not at all.
So we're talking very specifically about LinkedIn. We're not talking about all of the other social media platforms. Mm-hmm. What do you believe is the real benefit to LinkedIn?
Absolutely. Well, it's not just me. There's a survey, I want to say it's Sprout Social, HubSpot, but some very well-known company that 80% of B2B, business-to-business leads come from LinkedIn. So here's what I would say about any platform. Is my audience there? See, you don't need to be anywhere and everywhere that your audience is, right? And so if your audience isn't on TikTok, if your ideal audience isn't, although TikTok is, the demographics are changing, it's because of COVID, but that's a whole different situation. I'm not going to go down that road. But if your audience isn't there, then you probably don't need to be there, or you just need to be there in a little way. But for LinkedIn, if you're in B2B, if you're in a business, if you talk to executives, if you want to communicate to high level people on a more one-on-one basis, is just where you need to be, right? And so I think that's the deciding factor, because you can be on all these social media platforms, but as you said, if you just have a footprint there, if you just have a just a profile there, that doesn't do you any good. That doesn't do you any good at all. It's like one of my clients, before I really got to her and really was able to help her, someone told her, you know, you need to be doing videos. You just need to be doing videos. Well, that's nice to say, and there's some nugget of truth to that. But unfortunately, the videos that she was doing really weren't speaking to her target market. So they didn't have a lot of, just doing videos is of very little value if you're not providing value to your target market. And so if you're just doing videos and, hey, I'm here, let me tell you about my entrepreneur journey, unless your target market can move back and say, okay, how does that benefit me? Here's what I told her. I said, before you do anything, always ask this question, because this is the question that your audience will be asking. So what? So what? So what are you making this content for? How is this going to help me? How is this going to make my life better? Now, some of it's entertaining, right? So some don't always have to have a point, right? Some people can show kittens and babies, and that's wonderful, but it needs to have something that your audience is going to take away from it. And so that's the same way with LinkedIn or any platform. You have to have a goal before you go in. And you have to know the nuances of each platform, because YouTube is different from Facebook, is different from Instagram, is different from LinkedIn, is different from TikTok. So while we're trying to be efficient, and oh, I just posted this on Facebook, I can share it to this, and then I can do this. It's very contextual. It's very contextual. So my best suggestion for anybody is, one, find out where your audience is, and two, learn how to use that platform.
All right. So now let's talk a little bit about the importance of having an optimized profile.
Well, it's key. It's key, because, and here's why that is. So on Facebook, the emphasis is on posting. It's more of what you post. Your profile is I would say secondary. It's really not even relevant. I mean, yeah, you can put your picture and banner and your little tagline, and that's cute and that's wonderful. But most of it is driven by what you post. Also on Instagram, the same thing. You get one link, and so the same thing is driven by the pictures, by what you post, by the videos, by the content. LinkedIn is different. So here's how I tell people to think of LinkedIn. Think of LinkedIn as a networking event. So back when we used to go to networking events, right? So you go to this huge networking event and you have all these people here, all these people that you're going to meet. Well, would you respect an accountant if they walked up to you and said, hey, my name's John and I'm an accountant, but their clothes were disheveled, look like they probably hadn't shaved in a while, they may smell like, yeah, but they tell you they're a great accountant. Would you may discount that person a little bit. The same thing here. When you send somebody a connection request that's serious, they're going to come look at your profile. They're going to check you out. And if your profile doesn't look professional, they're just going to blow you off. And so I don't want to see that happen to anybody, but you just can't come over here like I've seen so many people do. Jump into somebody's inbox, tell them you can do all these great things. Oh, we can increase your revenue by 15%. And then they come to your profile and it doesn't look like you could do any of that. So yeah, your profile is very critical.
Dress for success.
Dress for success. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now let's get a little bit more into the posting. Yeah. So we're talking here about an audience of business professionals. Mm-hmm. That's, these are not people necessarily posting pictures of their daughter's birthday party.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of stuff is appropriate for LinkedIn? What is going to get the best results with that type of audience? Now, obviously, like you have already alluded to, it's got to match your target demographic. But now let's just say, what are kind of the do's and the don'ts, so to speak, in terms of what type of content you're using for that LinkedIn strategy?
Absolutely. Well, here's the beautiful part about it for me. Only 3% of LinkedIn even post. So just now, having said that, I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, I can just post anything and I'll just get, no, it doesn't really work that way either. But only 3% of LinkedIn actually post, 3% or less. And so most people are lurking. Most people are just looking. So just by having quality posts, you've already moved ahead of 97% of your competition. Now so to get to the second part of your question, what should I post? There's really think of something that's it now. Having said this, you want to think of educational, right? So how to works really well. 5 ways to do this, how to do that, something that can educate your audience. Also something that speaks to the pain of your audience. Something like the 5 mistakes you can make when purchasing life insurance. So if your audience is interested in that, that's going to attract them, obviously. If it's not, they won't, right? But it's those type of posts, not the, hey, I saw this just the other day. Hey, I just put up a brand new website. You should come check it out. As I said, you always have to ask yourself, so what? So it's good for you. I'm happy that you put up your website, but why should I check it out? Why should I go look at it? But now, if you say, hey, I just put up a brand new website, you get 15% off my latest products, and these products are talking about, these products will help you do A, B, and C. Now I have a reason to go and look at you, but just simply acknowledging that you put up a website or something like that, if you don't give it an incentive, then it just has no relevancy. So here's one of the great things. So LinkedIn recently expanded the variety of types of content you can post. One of the things that works real well now, that's real easy, are polls. Now you can post a poll on LinkedIn really, really easy. It's very easy to do. It should get you engagement. But here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to post a poll that has no relevance to what you're doing. Anybody can post a poll. Which one do you like better, dogs or cats? Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. And unless you're a vet or maybe a person that sells animals, sells dogs and cats, you have Petco or something. They may find that interesting. But if you are a business coach and you just want engagement, and you're posting something like, "What do you like better, dogs or cats?" What's your favorite season? You can get engagement, but it needs to be purposeful. It needs to be purposeful. So one of the things that I did recently, I'm a LinkedIn coach. So I posted a poll that really worked very well. And it said, why do you use LinkedIn? And I gave 3 choices. Are you using it to network? Are you using it to find a job? You just find a job, or are you using it to find a client? Well, I think it was like only 9% of the people said find a client. But guess what? That's my 9%. That's who I wanted. And so it's not, so the objective of the poll wasn't just to get engagement, it was to get the right type of engagement. So polls work really well. Very simple, easy to use. Another thing that works real well is live video. Now, LinkedIn, because it's LinkedIn and it's like the rich kid on the block, and they're just different. They're just different. So when Facebook, if I want to go live on Facebook, I click a button. Instagram, want to go live on Instagram, click a button. LinkedIn, you have to apply. so you have to apply to actually go live on LinkedIn. But the good news is they've been approving a lot more applications than they used to, because they want more live video content, because live video is really huge right now. And so they want to create more of that type of content. And so those would be the 2 kind of things that I would say right now are the hottest. Carousels are hot too. And carousel is just 5 ways to do this, but you actually click through. So you're swiping through the thing and you're seeing like each kind of little deal has a tip through it. So those are pretty hot, but just the easiest things right now are polls and live video once you get approved.
Got it. Now I want to briefly touch on the massive amount of followers that you have built, because that does in and of itself lend quite a bit of credibility. Like, you know what you're doing.
It
Okay.
does.
I don't know. I've been on LinkedIn for many years, and I've got, I don't know, like maybe 1,000 or, something like that.
Yeah.
I think how many do you have right now?
We got like a little over 12,000.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, leaps and bounds difference, right? But you're the LinkedIn guy, and
Right, there you go.
right. And I've been avoiding it because of spam, which we'll talk about in a minute.
That's right.
But so how did you do that?
The time and consistency. See, one of the questions, what I do, one of the things that I do is I offer a free, well, not free, complimentary profile review. And so as I'm doing those reviews, I can always tell people who either aren't networking or haven't been on the profile on the platform very long. Because see, and that's one of my questions that I ask as I'm reviewing their profiles. How long have you been serious about LinkedIn? Because we've all been, no, well, most of us have been there for a while, but then there's a time when we got really serious about it, right? We really said, well, let me kind of improve this. And a lot of times people will say, well, about a year, a couple of months, da, 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 da. And I can always tell because they don't have very many connections. See, if you have less than 500 connections on LinkedIn, it will tell 499, 320, da, 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 da. So whenever I see somebody that's in the below 500 level, I have an idea that they're not sending out enough connection requests. They're not connecting with enough people. They're not growing their network. And so I did it. It took me a while, but it's just, I did it back in the day when you could send out like 100 a day, and it wouldn't be a problem. Now, recently, and this kind of gets to our spam conversation, recently LinkedIn got feedback from their users that, hey, we're tired of our inbox always being just full of spam. You'll have 50 messages, say, oh, great, 50 connections, and 48 of them will just be spam. And 2 will actually be something that you value. And so what they've done recently is they have limited to 100 connection requests per week that you can send out. Well, so for somebody coming in now to get those numbers, it'll be difficult, a lot more challenging, because you just can't do mass, you can't do scale. But here's the beautiful thing about LinkedIn. It's not about the numbers. See, like we talked about earlier, I could meet one person because of networking that could connect me with another person that could get me into a company, sign $1 million contracts. So it's about it's about quality, not quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the quality of your connections. And I think that's where I help people the most, is so many people just, they get over here and they just don't have an idea about who to connect with, what to say, how to move that conversation along. Because here's what happens to so many people. They'll send you a connection request, and then it's just crickets. Still don't have any idea what to do next. It's like, oh, they did accept. It's like, now what? Well, we gotta move that relationship along. We gotta do something other than connect. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck at they accepted, now what point?
That is such a valuable point. And it is something that is, I've been saying it a lot lately, quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
So important. And the quality of our relationships really determine how fast we can grow our businesses.
Yes.
There always was that kind of cliche about, it's the people,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear it even in the working world, in corporate
Mm-hmm.
America.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get that job? That person was so much more qualified. Well, when your dads play golf together, then you've got your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, even some very, very successful business people, are really missing out on that really important fact of business success.
Yes.
It is a lot about who who you associate with, the quality of the relationships that you have. It really is quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
And what I'm hearing you say is that when you're more strategic about that, using LinkedIn, it makes a huge difference.
Oh, it makes a major difference. In fact, I know we're talking entrepreneurs, but over 60% of jobs are found by referral because I referred somebody. So, and I think I saw somewhere else like 1 or 2% are just through straight job boards and I'm just applying all day. So it's about, it truly is when they say your net worth is your net worth. There's a lot of value to that. That's really, really true. And we can see that, but if you think about it, it makes sense. So and I know we're talking to entrepreneurs and not, but just in this scenario, if you, and maybe even you can think as an entrepreneur, if you have the opportunity of working with somebody that you know, and you know what they can do, as opposed to John Doe, who may have a better resume, who may have a better, may come in at a better price, but you don't know their work. You don't know them. You know this person. You know that you've seen them. You have a more intimate relationship. 9 times out of 10, we're gonna go with the person we know, because we know this person. We know that there's a relationship there. If they let me down, there's a damage to the relationship. If John Doe lets me down, it's just money. It's just money. And
there's less risk.
That's right. And so that intimacy of relationship is so valuable. It's so valuable to build those relationships. And this is whether you're in the corporate world or even in as an entrepreneur. Just let me just segue real quick to, I was a manager with AT&T for 11 years. I was with them a total of 15 years. I can count on one hand and have fingers left over the number of times someone came to me of any department and said, you know what, I really would like to just pick your brain. You're a manager and you're in management. I'd just love to see if you could just give me some tips on how I can be better, how I can connect with better. See, that's easy. That's building that relationship. So you have that in with that person. You've already made them feel good. I mean, just asking somebody for advice makes them feel good, right? Now you build that relationship. You have what's called an informational interview. In other words, I'm not asking for a job. I just want to spend 15 minutes with you and just, can you tell me your history? How did you get here? What do you like? What do you not like? Those are the things that you need to be doing on LinkedIn. You're just doing it a different way, but it's the same scenario. You have to build those relationships. And I always, here's what I taught. I'm gonna give you your audience a little tip that I usually say for my students, but I'll give it to you anyway. I call it the power of 10, the power of 10. And what the power of 10 is, just think of getting 10 people that you can connect with and will pour back into you on a consistent basis. So anyway, let me give you how that looks. So you post something, you should have at least 9 other people that's commenting and liking it, because you built a community. You built a little power of 10. That's your foundation. Once you have that group, and that's different from an engagement group, which is totally different. These are people, this is your network. People you pour into and who pour into you. The power of 10, focus on that, and you can go a long way.
That is fantastic. We might have to use that as the title.
Well, it helps my clients because a lot of times they look at my 12,000 and say, oh my gosh, I'll never do that. I'm like, it's not about that. It's about the 5. It's about the 10. It's about you connecting. It could be about one person, right? One person that you connect to that gets you into the right group. So don't think of, oh my gosh, I got to collect all these coins. It's not a numbers game. It's a quality game. That's where I think so many people make a mistake.
Love that. So let's talk a little bit about where our listeners can connect with you, which I assume includes LinkedIn. But I'm sure that there are people who, whether they're listening right after we post this, or it could, because this is going to be evergreen. Maybe they're listening a year from now or 2 years from now. You know how the universe works, right?
Absolutely.
When the student is ready, the teacher appears.
That's
and they're saying to themselves, I've been feeling it. I need to step up my LinkedIn game. So where do they find you?
Absolutely. And here's another tip, and I'm sure you've already said this: always own your name. always own your name. My name is Shawn E. Hill. E stands for excellence. And so I'm offering a free 15-minute profile review. If you want to do that, if you want to take advantage of that, just go to ShawnEHill.com, and that will get you on my calendar, and you can always reach out to me there. If you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, which is fine as well, just go to www.thelinkedincoach.com, and that'll direct you to my profile. So I try to make it as easy as possible for people to get in touch with me.
Love that. And we can put those links in the description as well to make it even easier for
Absolutely.
people. So before we round out this episode, we've been talking about your area of expertise, and you provided us with so much value. But I want to leave on a slightly different note, because the name of this podcast is very strategic. I'm a mindset expert. I've done this work for many, many, many years. I work with high growth entrepreneurs to tweak their mindset, to accelerate to their goals, essentially, because it is a mindset game.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your mindset. So getting to where you are now, which is always a stepping stone to where you're going next.
Absolutely.
What has your journey been like? What is the mindset stuff that you've encountered along the way? And I'm not looking for like the full, autobiography, but if you could just summarize where you've seen yourself break through.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, this all started, and I'm sure your audience is probably familiar with the guy called Gary Vee. Really great business mind. So this was about 3 years ago, and I promise it won't be a long story. This is about 3 years ago. I was listening to his content. He said there's two places you need to be. One is LinkedIn, because of the organic reach of your content. One is LinkedIn, and one is TikTok. So at that time, my phone was so crappy, I couldn't even download TikTok. I mean, it didn't even have enough room. And so my wife said, sweetheart, that's probably good, because you didn't need to be on there dancing with those kids anyway. So I said, okay, fine. Well, I knew there was one place I could go. I could absolutely go to LinkedIn, because I had one there already. So I said, okay, the universe or God is telling me I need to be back on LinkedIn. So I got on LinkedIn, but I'm the type of person, getting back to mindset, I don't just do things halfway. I don't do things when I'm in, I go all in. And so I did my research, and as I'm studying and doing the research about profiles and marketing and optimizing this strategy, I just was seeing a lot of people making the same mistakes I had been making with the profiles and things like that. So I just started reaching out, because I love networking, right? So I started reaching out and say, hey, I noticed about your profile, this, that, and other. And then one person says, wow, how much do you charge? I was like, excuse me? Yeah, how much do you charge for telling me this? I had been an employee all my life. So a coach, something like that was just beyond my mindset at the time. And so I did research into that. I'm like, there are people that get paid for this. People get paid for telling people kind of how to make their things better. Wow, that's so cool. And so it started off with career, where I first started helping people optimize their profiles for a better career. And so, but my heart has always been with entrepreneurs. So I just transitioned over to helping entrepreneurs. Well, I was with AT&T for 15 years. And because of my passion is coaching and helping and helping other people, April of this year, I was able to do this full time. So now this is my full-time job. So that's the growth that I've seen, from not even knowing you can get paid to tell people what to do, other than through a salary, to understanding that if you're working in your passion, and one of my passions is freedom, then yes, money's important, but then it becomes secondary. Because right now, I wouldn't trade the freedom I have to work in my passion to go back to a job. Nothing wrong with jobs. I'm certainly not putting them down. I was blessed to be able to be at AT&T for that long. But when you have a mindset that I'm just not going to lose, I'm just not going to quit, I'll get knocked down. I'll learn a lot of lessons, and I'll grow. And so I've always believed you never lose. So people say, well, you win or you lose. I never lose. I either win or I learn. So I never lose. So that's kind of my mindset.
Excellent. I love that. And such a great way to end this episode, because you're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. You have to have that foundational mindset. You've got to be willing to go for it. I always say it's saying yes to yourself.
Yeah.
You're feeling it. When you're feeling it, that calling to do that thing is not going to go away. So you can drag yourself through the mud and feel like absolute hell because you are not willing to face your fears, doubts, insecurities, let go of old limiting beliefs, do what you need to do to get your head in the game. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to be fulfilled. You've got to say yes to yourself, and you've got to be willing to fall down, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going.
Yeah, and let me just say this also real quick. This little story. I'll end here. I was coaching with one young lady, and she is the very giving type. And as we talked about, there was a lot of trauma in her background and things like that. So she never really believed in herself, but she wants to try this entrepreneur thing. She wants to try this over here. And so she said, "Okay, I'm gonna sign on with your coaching. I believe in I want to do this. I want to do this." Then she called me just a day later and says, well, and then this is where all the excuses come in, right? Well, I'm so busy here, and I'm already in this other training, and you could hear the wheels. You could hear the wheels unraveling. You could hear the wheels, and the little voice is saying, "You can't do this. It's not for you. This is for those other people." And the sad part about it is so many entrepreneurs will just, and it's a good thing in a way, will just do so much for other people, but they won't invest in themselves. They won't invest in their dreams. They'll go across the town to pick somebody up, take them somewhere, but they won't go up the street to invest in their own dreams because so many people don't believe they're worth it. And so what I want to share with you is that you're absolutely worth it. You're absolutely worth whatever your dream is. I don't believe you would have had that dream if it wasn't for you. So invest in yourself, man, my goodness. The best investment, forget Bitcoin, crypto, the best investment you will ever make is in who you are and who you should be.
Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. So thank you again. I mean, this has really been fantastic. You shared so many good takeaways. I do encourage our listeners to get in contact with you if they would like to polish up their LinkedIn profile and create a strategy. Strategy, so important. You know, I mean, come on, build it and they will come, you know, that would be nice.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't it? Wouldn't they just show up and throw up, right? Oh, show up and throw up. Oh,
that'd be nice. Yeah, it would make things a lot easier. There'd be a lot more successful people in the world. But in any case, so for all of those go-getters who are listening in today, you know, reach out to Shawn. This has been fantastic. And I want to thank all of our listeners for being with us, and make sure you subscribe because we have some fantastic experts who are going to share very, very helpful, game-changing information. So with that, Shawn, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining us today.